Welcome to Health Inside MD. This is your space to learn practical, trustworthy health information in a simple and reassuring way. I'm glad you're here. Let's begin today's video.
Have you ever stopped to think that your body might be trying to send you silent signals and you simply aren't noticing? What if I told you that millions of people in the United States live with diabetes without even realizing they have this condition, while subtle signs appear every day and go unnoticed? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could truly change the way you perceive your body and your health. What many people don't know is that diabetes isn't just a matter of high blood sugar. It affects virtually every system in the body, interfering with the functioning of the heart, kidneys, nerves, and even vision. And the truth is, in its early stages, it manifests itself in such subtle ways that you might not even imagine anything is wrong. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to show you the 5 most common early signs that most people completely ignore, signs that can appear at any age and that, if identified in time, can make all the difference to your health. After everything we've discussed so far, after understanding how the body sends silent signals and how small changes can carry enormous messages, it makes perfect sense to take the next step with even more attention and care. Because information alone doesn't transform anything. What truly transforms is the ability to recognize these signals in one's own routine, in one's own body, in one's own daily life. That's what separates those who only listen from those who truly begin to take care of themselves. And that's exactly why we now need to continue this conversation calmly, deeply, and consciously, maintaining all this attention and this more careful look at what the body is trying to say. We now begin to explore the early signs of diabetes in a clear and direct way. And the first sign I want to bring up precisely, because it's one of the most ignored, is something that many people feel practically every day, something that has become part of so many people's routines, but is almost never associated with a more serious health condition. Precisely for this reason, it goes unnoticed for so long. Excessive fatigue deserves special attention. It's one of the most insidious signs of diabetes. Insidious because it disguises itself as something common, acceptable, almost normal in modern life. A person sleeps, wakes up, follows their routine, tries to keep everything running, and yet feels as if they're never truly rested. And the most dangerous thing is that, over time, this tiredness ceases to be questioned. It becomes part of the person's identity. I've always been tired, it's just age. It's work. But the truth is simple and direct. Not all tiredness is the same. When someone feels tired, even after a full night's sleep, the problem often isn't the amount of rest, but how the body is managing to convert sugar into energy. In diabetes, especially in the early stages, glucose circulates in the blood but doesn't enter the cells efficiently. And if the energy doesn't reach the cells, the body simply can't function properly. It's like trying to light up an entire house with electricity running through the wires, but without reaching the light bulbs. The system is there, but the result doesn't appear. The entire body begins to function below its true potential. That's exactly why this type of tiredness is different from normal tiredness. Common tiredness comes after exertion, a hard day, and few hours of sleep. It improves when you rest, sleep well, or take time to relax. Persistent tiredness, however, doesn't respect rest. You sleep 8, 9 hours, wake up, and still feel heavy, your mind slow, as if the day has already started at its limit. It's not a tiredness that goes away with coffee. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a clear physiological sign that something is out of balance. Do you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep? This question is a powerful trigger because many people automatically answer yes without ever stopping to reflect on what that really means. This type of constant fatigue is usually accompanied by difficulty concentrating, irritation without a clear reason, loss of motivation, and a strange feeling that everything requires more effort than it should. Simple activities begin to seem heavy. The body even moves, but the real energy never arrives. Another important point is that this fatigue doesn't appear overnight. It sets in gradually. First, you feel a little more tired in the afternoon. Then you start waking up already lacking energy. Next, you need more stimulation to function. And when you realize it, this state has become normal. That's exactly where the danger lies. Because the body adapts. But the problem continues to grow silently behind the scenes. The longer this fatigue is ignored, the greater the impact on overall health. It affects mood, mental clarity, productivity, self-care, and even the ability to perceive other important symptoms. It's as if the body is always operating at its limit, without reserves. This constant state of exhaustion is one of the first signs that something metabolic may be out of balance. Therefore, understanding this symptom goes far beyond simply asking yourself if you're tired. It's about perceiving the quality of this fatigue. Does it go away with rest or does it persist? Does it appear after exertion or is it present from the moment you wake up? Does it improve on weekends or does it seem to accompany you every day? These answers say a lot about what's happening internally. When you begin to differentiate between normal fatigue and persistent fatigue, something changes. You stop normalizing discomfort and start listening to your body more attentively. And it is precisely from this point that it becomes easier to connect this signal with other silent warnings that the body may also be sending. Because these signs don't appear in isolation together, they tell an increasingly clear story about your health. And when you learn to listen to that story, everything finally starts to make more sense. After understanding how persistent fatigue can be a silent signal from the body, it's time to look at another warning sign that many people overlook: constant thirst and a dry mouth. This symptom is more common than you might think, and is often dismissed as simply dehydration, heat, or physical exertion. But in the context of diabetes, it carries an important message. The body is trying to balance sugar levels that are out of the normal range. Imagine your day, you're at work, school, or home, and you feel that need to drink water almost all the time. The water bottle is always within reach, but the feeling of thirst never completely goes away. Or you wake up in the morning with a dry mouth, even after a good night's sleep, and you realize that this repeats itself daily. Small everyday gestures begin to show that something is not quite right. Signs that we often ignore until they become constant. What happens internally is simple, but powerful. When blood glucose levels are high, the body needs to eliminate excess sugar. To do this, it removes water from the body, causing the sensation of thirst to increase and the mouth to become dry. It is a silent defense mechanism that tries to maintain internal balance. But it is also a clear warning that the metabolism is not working perfectly. And the most subtle thing is that, while you feel thirsty, you often don't realize that you are constantly losing fluids, creating an invisible cycle of dehydration. Many people minimize this symptom, thinking, "Oh, it's just the heat. I didn't drink enough water today." Or, "It's normal to feel thirsty after training or running." But if this thirst repeats itself daily, if you realize that you need to drink water frequently even without physical exertion, or if you wake up several times during the night to quench your thirst, this ceases to be normal. It is a warning sign that, combined with other symptoms, such as the fatigue we discussed earlier, begins to tell a bigger story about your health. And it's not just thirst that draws attention. Constant dry mouth can cause discomfort, irritation, difficulty swallowing or speaking, and even changes in taste. It's as if the body is sending a clear message. Something is out of balance. Pay attention, and the beauty of noticing this signal lies precisely in the detail. Observing patterns, noticing when they occur, and connecting these small alerts with other changes in the body is what transforms information into action. So, when you start to notice that this constant thirst isn't just an isolated episode, but a routine that repeats itself daily, something changes in your perception. You start paying attention to signs that many people dismiss, and you understand that they may be related to something bigger. This is where symptom for connects with. 5. Persistent fatigue and constant thirst are two signs that go hand in hand, showing that the body is struggling to maintain balance and that sugar levels may be affecting energy, concentration, and overall well-being. By noticing this pattern, you are opening up space to identify the next sign, urinating very frequently. And when these symptoms start to appear together, they cease to be just isolated discomforts and become a clear warning, sign that deserves attention. Because, in the end, what matters is understanding what the body is trying to communicate, without fear, without judgment. Just listening and interpreting signs that can change your health for the better. After understanding how persistent fatigue can be a silent signal from your body, it's time to look at another sign that many people ignore, but which also carries important messages about health: urinating very frequently, especially at night. This symptom is as subtle as it is treacherous, because it's easy to think it's normal, that it's part of the routine, that everyone goes through it from time to time. But in the context of diabetes, it tells a very clear story about what is happening inside your body. When you feel that constant need to go to the bathroom, even if you've just come from there, your body is trying to communicate something. There is excess sugar in the blood, and this extra sugar cannot be used by the cells as energy efficiently. So, the body needs to get rid of it somehow, and urine is the fastest way to eliminate this surplus. It's a silent process that happens throughout the day, but you only notice it when you start interrupting tasks repeatedly, when you wake up several times at night, or when you feel that thirst that never seems to completely go away. After understanding how persistent fatigue, constant thirst, and the frequent need to urinate can be silent signals from the body, it's time to look at something many people simply ignore: blurred vision. This is a symptom that appears subtly, almost imperceptibly in daily life, but carries an important message about your body's balance and metabolic health. Imagine trying to read a message on your cell phone or an important email, and suddenly let her seem to dance on the screen, as if your vision isn't completely clear. Sometimes this happens only at certain times of the day. Other times it seems that vision improves and worsens on its own, for no apparent reason. Many people dismiss this as eye strain, excessive screen time, or even think the problem is just their glasses. But the truth is that, when related to diabetes, this blurred vision is a silent warning that blood sugar is affecting the small blood vessels and nerves in the eyes, impairing how we see. What's fascinating and at the same time worrying is that this symptom doesn't need to be intense to be serious. Vision that comes and goes, small blurs that appear and disappear, are indications that the body is trying to cope with high glucose levels. Excess sugar in the blood causes changes in the fluids inside the eye, causing the lens to swell slightly and, as a result, vision to become temporarily blurred. This process is silent but persistent, and many people only notice it when the problem has become more frequent or even permanent. Besides difficulty reading texts, other subtle signs may appear: difficulty focusing during the day, a constant feeling of eye strain, mild headaches, and even a need to move your cell phone or book further away to see better. These are small warnings that, in isolation, seem trivial, but when observed together with other symptoms, fatigue, constant thirst, frequent urination, they begin to tell a clearer story about the body's health. And here comes the crucial point: differentiating temporary blurred vision from common problems with glasses or eye strain from what may actually be an early sign of diabetes. If this symptom appears recurrently, if it improves and worsens without explanation, or if it affects daily activities such as reading messages, driving, or using a computer, it deserves attention. Observing these details is a huge step in understanding how the body is communicating, because vision is just one of the many ways it uses to warn that something is out of balance. By recognizing blurred vision as a warning sign, you begin to see not only what's happening in your eyes, but also the full impact that early-stage diabetes can have on other aspects of your health, energy, concentration, motivation, and overall well-being. It's an invitation to pay attention to the signs, connect the dots, and act proactively before more serious symptoms manifest. And the most interesting thing is that, unlike symptoms that seem isolated, blurred vision is directly connected to what we've already discussed. Abnormal sugar levels affect energy and hydration, which in turn influence concentration and the functioning of the body as a whole. It's as if each warning sign is a piece of a large puzzle, and only by putting them all together can we understand the true dimension of what the body is trying to communicate. Now, if you've made it this far and are reflecting on these signs, I want to invite you to take a deeper step in understanding your body. It's super important that, when you feel these changes, you don't ignore what's happening and seek medical advice. After all, this recognition process is vital to avoid complications and ensure that your health is on the right track. First of all, I want you to stop and think. Have you noticed any changes in your body that you can't explain? Perhaps you're losing a few pounds without changing your diet or routine. Or, conversely, you've gained weight suddenly, even while maintaining habits you consider normal. This is a sign that many people ignore, thinking it's just natural fluctuation, stress, or changes in routine. But, in reality, the body is trying to send you a clear message. Something in your metabolism isn't working as it should. In diabetes, especially in the early stages, the body cannot process glucose efficiently. This means that, even eating normally, the body may not be using the energy from food properly. Glucose remains in the blood at higher levels, and the body begins to react by trying to compensate for this imbalance. This process often manifests itself precisely in sudden weight changes, whether loss or gain that seem to happen out of nowhere. The most important thing here is to understand the context of these changes. Losing weight due to diet or exercise is normal. Gaining a few pounds due to lifestyle changes is also a sign. But when these changes happen for no apparent reason, it's a physiological signal that deserves attention. It's a silent but powerful warning that the body is sending. Look at me. Something needs attention. And that's exactly where the idea of transformation comes in. Noticing this change and acting consciously can alter the entire trajectory of your health. Small adjustments, medical checkups, and attention to daily habits can prevent more serious symptoms from appearing. Speaking of which, it's worth briefly mentioning other signs you should also observe, even if they aren't the most common at the beginning. Wounds that take a long time to heal and tingling or numbness in the extremities. These symptoms are a consequence of more advanced changes, but they already serve as visual and physical warnings that the body is reacting to an imbalance, returning to weight loss or gain. Notice that this symptom is often the first thread of a pattern that, if ignored, can trigger other signs such as constant fatigue, excessive thirst, frequent urination, and blurred vision. It's as if the body is trying to show you the way. But most people only notice when the signs become clearer and harder to ignore. Now, imagine if you could recognize these changes early on. Interpret what your body is trying to tell you and act before they worsen. It's precisely this kind of awareness that transforms how you relate to your own health, allowing for more informed decisions, more balanced habits, and a much safer journey towards well-being. Paying attention to this first symptom is like seeing the first point on a line connecting all the other signs. It gives you the initial map, the silent warning, and opens the door for you to understand the importance of observing your body as a whole, of not normalizing discomfort, and of seeking medical advice whenever necessary. So, whenever you notice an unexpected change in your weight, don't minimize it. Ask yourself, does this make sense for my body, my routine, my diet? This simple reflection is the beginning of a deeper listening to your body. And that's exactly what differentiates those who ignore the signs from those who act proactively, protecting their long-term health. And before we wrap up, take a look over there. There are other videos with valuable tips on health and nutrition, helping you in your daily life and taking better care of your body. It's worth continuing to browse, because we still have a lot to learn together about the signals our bodies send.